for tuning in to On the Rise with Miss Phoenix. We have Tanicka. Am I saying it right? Tanicka?
Tanicka.
Tanicka Williams. We have Tanicka Williams on the show with us. Thank you for all joining in. We're here to discuss her book, I Don't Look Like What I Went Through.
Right.
So many times people say those things and you don't know the background of the story of exactly what they went through. You see the finished product, but you don't know the story behind it. So we thank her today for coming on the show. We're going to discuss some of the things she went through, which she was an open book and she shared in her book, and give insights, get some other encouraging words to encourage and help somebody else. So Tanicka, your book, I Don't Look Like What I Went Through. For those who are just going into the store or those that's going to go pick it up, what can they expect before they even open up the book?
It's pretty much I wanted to make it an identification, self-identification
Okay.
book. It's not women bias, it's not just um for women focused. It's really not. It's just for anybody who feel as though they don't belong, who can't identify themselves in one particular group, somebody who's looking for an outlet, somebody who just wants to be able to be like, this is me, here I am, take it or leave it, somebody who's not ashamed to be themselves genuinely, because I'm still learning that every single day.
Okay.
So I want people to understand 3 key points that I want people to take from my book. I want people to understand that we have to have self-love. We most definitely have to have self-love, because in order to be able to help, encourage, and love other people, we have to understand who we are at the end of the day.
Okay.
And also, then that comes into play to have self-respect. You have to understand that it's not just you. You're not the only one on this journey. You're not the only person going through what it is that you're going through at this particular time. There's been people before you. There's someone going through it right now. And I'm pretty sure you won't be the last person to go through it.
Okay.
And then also self-inventory. So many times we allow ourselves to get involved into situations and then we want to blame people. We want to blame this person. But we don't take the time to understand, how did we get here?
Right.
How did we get to this particular point to where things aren't exactly adding up?
Right.
Things don't look like what we think that they're supposed to look like. So we have to get to a place to where we take accountability for what it is, that not only what we do, but what we say, the things that we think, because it doesn't become a sin until we act upon it. So a lot of times we lose ourselves.
Right.
And because we're not asking the right questions, and because we're not asking the right questions, we think that nobody hears us.
Right.
So I just want people to understand that you're not in it by yourself. You're not alone. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with sharing yourself with somebody else. My nana used to always tell me, we keep what we have by giving it away. And that's my message that I want to convey. I want to be able to share myself with someone else. I want somebody to be able to be encouraged by my story. I want somebody to understand that I went through it too, but I got out.
Right.
And I'm still standing.
Right.
So
I want to, you said something in your book. You said, before I even knew how to be someone's mother, I had to become a woman first.
yeah, I'm, like I said, every day I'm still learning who I am, who I'm supposed to be, the kind of mother that I need to be. And I'm not going to say, for lack of a better word, I want to say it's an uphill battle, because I'm still learning. I'm not just learning for myself, from myself, but every day I'm learning from the people that I surround myself with. I'm learning from my children, because I have sons. Every day is an adventure in my house. Every day. It's a journey. It's a struggle. It's an eye opener, but I get something from it every day. And because I was never taught how a woman was supposed to carry herself, I was never taught how a woman was supposed to have respect for herself so that she can have respect for others. I was never taught to take accountability. And then that third point, self-inventory for the things that I might do that might affect not just me, but those around me. So every day I'm learning how to be the woman that I'm supposed to be. I'm learning how to be the woman that I can be for the man that God may have for me. I'm learning how to be a woman to teach my boys how to treat the woman that God is going to design for them. And it's a learning experience. I'm not going to say that it's easy, but it's definitely an adventure.
What made you realize that? So many times, we as women growing up as a young lady, you grow up, you can't wait to become an adult, you can't wait, and you have this perception of, oh, I know who I am, I know how I'm going to do this, I am woman, I am this and that. But what made you get to the point to realize, listen, I'm still learning to become a woman. I think I had it all together, but I really don't. Like, what was it that made you think, it was like, wait a minute, before I can get a handle on this one part, I have to be better myself?
It wasn't until I want to say I divorced my second husband, who was my attacker. I'm
Okay.
a domestic violence survivor. So I'm still learning how to be better.
Hmm.
I'm still learning how to evolve from situations. This particular situation, I'm learning not to be afraid anymore. I'm learning that it's okay to not be okay. So, and learning that it's okay not to be okay, that comes with adulthood.
Right.
Adulthood comes with showing yourself to be genuinely who you are. This is me. I don't have it all together. Me and my boys, we lived in a shelter
Hmm.
for a couple of months after I had my second husband arrested
Hmm.
because we didn't have anywhere else to go. And that showed me that you don't have it all together, and it's okay to not have it all together, because sometimes we need to fall so that God can pick us back up to
Right.
be the person that he would have us to be. So when we was in the shelter, that was definitely a humbling experience because I didn't tell anybody
Hmm.
what was going on with us.
Right.
It wasn't until after we was able to find a place after we moved out the shelter where I want to say, brave enough to let people know, like, I was in it. I dealt with it. I was messed up for years. I was quiet about it. I was afraid because I thought people were going to give me their opinion as opposed to giving me their hand. I thought people was going to give me their judgment without understanding my story.
Right.
So every day I'm learning how to come out and just pretty much share myself with somebody else that might necessarily not be in a situation that I was in, but might be in a situation where they don't think that it's necessary to ask people for help, or just simply say, you know what, today I don't have it. I
Right.
don't have it. I don't have what it is that I'm supposed to have. Because there's been plenty of times I tell my sons, listen, mommy ain't got it today.
Right.
Mommy is not feeling herself today.
Today. Right.
And that's okay. That's okay. A lot of people, a lot of times, especially, and I'm learning, people of color, we think that it's a weakness to be afraid, to be
Right.
nervous, not to tell somebody the whole truth. No, that's not a weakness. That's actually a strength, because now you're coming out of your shell and you're letting people know that you don't have it figured out.
Right.
And
Right.
as a woman, we're looked at as the nurturers. We're looked at as the caretakers. We're the ones that's supposed to always have it figured out. Well, I'm here to tell you today, family, I'm calling y'all family because we are after today.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You will cry, you will scream, you will stomp your feet, clap your hands, do whatever it is that you need to do
Hmm.
to let somebody know that today I don't have it figured out and I need your help.
Um. So let's talk about your book. Can you share with us just a snippet about your book? I know it's a story. It's a story to about your journey, about
Yeah.
some things that you went through. So I'm gonna let you share your journey. You don't have to give it all away because I really want
Okay.
you to go out and get the book. But I
Yes.
just want you to touch on some key things in the book,
Okay.
so they can better understand it.
Okay. Well, the journey pretty much starts with me from when I was a young girl. I didn't exactly have, like I mentioned before, the relationship that I needed to have with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So she sort of kind of was like absentee from my life. So I pretty much had to grow up quick
Okay.
because I lived with my grandmother, but because, she was of age, I had to work. I had to go to school. I had a sister, but we didn't exactly have the best relationship either. So now I'm definitely not getting the essentials,
Okay.
the ingredients of how to not necessarily be perfect, but to be exemplary for somebody else, how to carry myself,
Mm-hmm.
how to have proper diction when I have a conversation with someone, how to um, entertain the opposite sex whenever I may come across him.
Mm-hmm.
So, in doing that, it was once again an eye opener because my grandmother eventually passed away. So now I'm definitely trying to find myself. I'm definitely trying to find the Roman road of how to grow up.
Okay.
So from going from that, being 20 years old, moving to Jersey City, not knowing really anybody except for the little family that I did have here, to meeting my first husband, us getting together. Now I'm somebody's wife. I'm once again another journey,
Right.
that I have to figure out. It was short lived after that I became I had my first son.
Mm-hmm.
So now another chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm somebody's wife, I'm somebody's mom, and I'm still trying to figure out who I am at the end of the day. So I'm just trying to like put all my eggs in this one basket because now I have three roles that I
Right.
have to play. I have to be the woman that I need to be for myself. Now I'm somebody's mom and I'm somebody's wife. So trying to do all of this, that's a job to try to figure out. And I'm working. So now I'm a working mom who's trying to make sure that her child is okay. I'm trying to make sure that I'm satisfying my husband, which at first I really didn't know how to do, which most women, I was young when I got married. I was 21. So I don't know what a wife is supposed to act like. I don't know. Am I doing it right? Am I satisfying my husband? Am I doing what I need to do for my household? Am I making sure that my son is okay?
Right.
So it was definitely a challenge, but at the same time, it was an adventure because the things that I was starting to learn about myself started to trickle down into my household. So I felt as though I was making my husband comfortable. I was taking care of my son the best that I could. And then when we got further into the marriage, of course, I wound up having two more kids. So now I'm this mom of three sons
Mm-hmm.
on top of a husband, and eventually things started to dissolve. My marriage started to crumble. I was losing myself once again. So now I'm back in this dark place that I didn't want to be in because now what went wrong? Was it me? Did I do something that he didn't like? Am I doing the best that I can for my kids? So eventually the marriage did wind up dissolving and we did wind up getting a divorce. So now I'm a single mother
Right.
of three kids. So now I'm just definitely I'm trying to gravitate to anybody and anything that is going to point me in a direction of way that I'm supposed to go to take care of these kids.
Right.
So that's when I'm going to say I definitely had to grab hold to some kind of substance because I lost myself after I divorced their father. I didn't know who I was because I was with him for so long.
Right.
Now I have to figure out who I am as Tanicka, as somebody's mom. And I'm pretty much starting from the bottom because now I have to look for an apartment. I have to figure out what school my kids are going to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So every day I had a to-do list.
Right.
Okay, you're going to get up. You're going to do what you need to do for yourself. You're going to do what you need to do for your kids. And this thing is going to turn around. I always was positive. Even though I was in a bad space, I always stay positive. And that's another thing that we need to do too. We don't need to be Debbie Downers just because we're in a bad way.
Right.
We always need to be optimistic about what God is going to do, because things are definitely going to turn around. And eventually they did.
Right.
I found an apartment. My kids went to the same school. They was with each other. I managed to maintain my household while working. So things will definitely turn around. So I got better at, I'm going to say, putting on a facade, because that's what I did in the beginning. I put on a facade. I made sure that it looked like I was okay.
Right.
Even though I was crumbling on the inside. And because I had 3 infants, I didn't want to let them see me crumble. Because they're boys, I wanted to still put on that face. I still wanted to show them, like, look, mommy is doing it. Mommy's going to do it for y'all. Mommy is doing it for herself. And we're going to make this thing work. But it took a lot of faith and it took a lot of prayer for me to get out of that dark space, to being comfortable with who I was at the end of the day. So even though, I didn't necessarily have the relationships that I needed to have with the people that was supposed to be teaching me the things that I needed to know, and being that my marriage didn't work, I'm now a single mother, I still didn't let those things deter me from becoming the woman that I can say I am today. Because all these things were actually beneficial tools to create the woman sitting here before you today. I know that I'm not going to always get it right. I know that I'm not always going to say what I need to say at the moment that I probably need to say it. But I know I'm not where I was. And I know where I'm going. We always need to have some kind of plan. I tell my boys this all the time. Have a plan. Have some kind of direction for your life, because you don't want to fall by the wayside.
Right.
You don't want to be viewed. You want to be seen. You want people to know who you are. And I felt as though, after going through so many trials, so many tribulations, not having the relationships that I needed to have with people, but yet I was still able to grow from all of those obstacles in my life, that I felt it was time for me to share myself with people. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who never had a relationship with their dad, the relationship that with their mom that they needed to have. They just, sibling rivalry. Everybody probably goes through that at some point in time. Like I said, I'm a domestic violence survivor. I say survivor because I'm here.
Right.
So I take everything that I go through as a lesson learned. Some people are going to be in your life they're either going to be a tree, a branch, or a root. And I say that because you have leaves. What do leaves do? Leaves, they blow whenever the wind comes through. You have branches. They may stay for a little while. They may linger, and they may make you feel good. They may boost you up, but eventually they blow away as well. As with roots, roots will stay. Roots are grounded. Roots will uplift you, encourage you, but you always know that they're going to be there. And eventually I got to a place to where I found some roots in my life. I have a dynamic prayer family that I know that I can go to whenever when I feel as though things are going left.
Okay.
I have an organization that I'm with called Sarah's Daughters, which is a great organization that somebody introduced me to. I've been with them for the last 2 years. They've helped me. They've helped my family. They've helped my children transition from leaving the shelter to moving to our own apartment. So I'm ever so grateful for these dynamic women in my life, and they're helping me. They are definitely beneficial to the path that I'm on, because I'm all about encouraging. I'm all about empowerment. I'm all about making sure that voices get heard.
Right.
I want to make sure that people don't fear the dark. Yeah, we all go into our dark corners. We all go into our dark spaces. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to know that. And we need to have faith as small as a mustard seed and know that God will definitely pull us out from where we are as long as we hold on to his unchanging hand. And I just want everybody to be encouraged today. I want everybody to hear my story. I want people to go out, get the book, because you don't look like
What you go
what you go through. And we definitely not going to stay where we are.
Right. So many times we sit on our story. So many times we don't share and don't understand that the purpose of us going through is to bring us to a place and to bring somebody else out of a place. So when we sit on our story and we don't share, the next person that may be sitting right next to you may lose out on the fact of you may just be that light to shine on their dark spot to help bring them out. You said three things: self-love, self-respect, and self-inventory. Self-love. So many times we give to other people other things and we pour out and we don't really know how to love ourselves. It is very difficult to love others when you really don't know how to love yourself. And then it puts you in a difficult spot, because if you don't really know how to love on you, you're not able to really receive the true love that you need. So everything that comes your way begins to look like love and is formed in a way that is not really love, because you begin to look at yourself in that atmosphere or that way that that person portrayed, because you don't know what love is. So I think that that's very important how you said that self-love is very important, and it took you through your journey, through your book, to understand that I got to love myself. I cannot pour into every and anything. I know that I grew up without. I had to find my way by myself. I had to find my way as I read some of your story and I listened to you talk. You went from learning your raising yourself, better much say, on a journey by yourself, to going into a marriage by yourself, having kids by yourself. So now you went from never being taught to care for a man or be involved with a man, to now at your feet you had three men. You had a husband and three boys while you were still trying to learn yourself, which puts you in a spot, like you said, you, even when you didn't know, you thought, let me do this, let me pull this, and because I think this is what works and what fits.
Right.
You also said, you talked about self-respect. I'm not going to tell you how to book, go get the book. But in the book, you shared some things that you went through in your marriage. And
Yeah.
with going through that, self-respect, you have to respect you in
Yes.
order to demand respect from somebody else.
You're right. You're definitely so right about that. In chapter 3, I go into great detail in regards to what really was going on in my marriage, because I felt as though it was time for me to tap into what was going on, because so many people saw us on the outside and thought that everything was okay on the inside, but it wasn't. It really wasn't. And so many times, like I said, we lose ourselves. And there's a chapter called, eyes open, mouth shut. And I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't let anybody know that my husband was out there. I didn't let anybody know that, because I felt as though he wasn't treating me the way that I should have been treated, that I wasn't exactly the perfect wife. So therefore, I wasn't respecting myself and I wasn't respecting him, because both of us was in the wrong. And
Right.
two wrongs don't make a right. But because I felt as though I was being mistreated, and because once again, it goes back to that self-love, I never knew that what he was doing to me was going to affect me in a way that it did.
Right.
So I, in turn, wanted physical satisfaction. I wanted somebody that was going to say to me, "Oh, you're pretty. You need somebody that's going to treat you the way that you're supposed to be treated." What does that mean? Are you going to treat me the way that I'm supposed to be treated, or am I supposed to be treating myself the
Right.
way that I'm supposed to be treated?
Right.
So I wanted to pretty much make it black and white. I wanted
Right.
to let people know this is what I did. Then that's where we go into that accountability. I
That's
wasn't the perfect
story.
wife. I wasn't Joan Cleaver. I didn't have meals on the table all the time. I didn't exactly stroke his ego. That's probably why he did what he did. And therefore, because I felt as though, once again, he wasn't stroking mine, I did what I did. But at the end of the day, you have to take accountability. And that's what I did. And that's exactly why y'all need to go get the book.
Go get the book.
So you can find out exactly how did I take accountability for the actions that I played in my marriage not exactly working out, and what I did once I realized that it wasn't going to work out, because
Right.
it wasn't the end.
Right.
It was just the beginning of Tanicka finding Tanicka
Right.
without the man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still on that journey. Yes, I've been married twice,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay.
Right.
It's called trial and error for a reason. I am a spiritual person, and I believe that God is going to bless me with the man that I'm supposed to be with. They just weren't those two men.
And what you said when you was talking about self inventory, so many times we get in the part where we're the victim in so many areas that we don't take part in what we did to kind of become that victim, or what we've done outside of, yes, this thing happened to you, but it was some things that you allowed, or it was some things that you also done that could have been avoided. And so many times we want in our lives, we have a goal and we set our goal, but sometimes we're not really ready for the things that be presented to us.
Mm.
And maybe, and I'm just saying, maybe the Tanicka now it would have been different then, because you found yourself,
Right.
love, self-love, self-respect, how the fact of taking accountability for different things. So like you said, when we begin to ask God for things, and we begin to seek God for different things in our lives, so many times we ask him for some stuff that we're not ready for, and then they start coming and we're not really ready to handle the things that we ask him for. So we go through different processes until we are ready to receive it. So like you said, the husband is out there for you,
Right.
and he might have had to go through some things to get to be the man that he is, so that he could be the man and the husband for you today. But like
Right.
you said, your journey, and you is not a place where you are alone. And I'm guaranteeing as many people that's going to watch this, that's going to see, wow, is she telling my story? Wow, is this about me? Because they can identify with some of the things that you went through, and can identify with your story. And then it may be somebody that's in a place right now that needs to hear this story, because they're like, if she can do it and find a way out, I can. Like you said, you endured domestic violence, and you had to go to a shelter. You had to be there with your kids. And so many times people were on the outside looking in, and you painted a picture of this. All of this stuff is good. So then when you get to the point of where you're at, they're like, well, how did that happen when it was just all so good? And I like to call that the mask syndrome. We masked up. Way
Mm.
before COVID, we masked up. We masked up our feelings. We masked up what we go through. We masked up anything, because we don't want others to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And that prevents us from getting the help and the guidance that we need. Because if a person feels like you all good and you all right, they're not going to reach out help. But like
Right.
you said, when you become unmasked, you begin to get those trees, those branches, and those roots in your life. And I like how you said it, because when you said it, I began to really think about the tree.
Mm.
And I begin to think of how a tree, and how strong it is, and how it stands strong. And sometimes you just need that person in your life that's just going to stand there and be strong with you.
Right.
And then you talked about the root. The roots are not always seen. They're underground. So you need those people in your life that's going to help keep you rooted while you have those that standing beside you. Then you talked about the branch. And the branches, although they're connected to the tree, they're just extensions of the tree. Which you're going to have people that's just an extension of who you are, that at times you may have to grab them, but they're connected to the things that's strong for you. And then you talked about the leaves. And I looked at the leaves and I began to see that the leaves, how we look at when the leaves cover some of the branches, they cover the tree. It shields the stuff. Sometimes if you ever was raining and you stand underneath the tree, the leaves shield the rain and gives you an umbrella sometimes and coverage. So the trees give you coverage, but also I'm thinking about the fall and how we look at the fall season now, and the leaves are changing colors, and we think about how beautiful the leaves is. However, they're changing colors because they're dying. And the tree understands that it has to let go of the leaves that's dying because it's no longer beneficial. Although it's beautiful, it needs to die and let go. So many times we have some leaves in our lives that only serve a purpose for so long that it has time for it to change colors, and we have to let them fall off so that new things, new people, and new things can happen in our lives. So I thank you so much, because as I went through your book, I began to see the different changes that you went through and the different journeys that you went through in your life. And the path that you are, just by talking to you, the path that you're on now. And like you said, you are a survivor because you're still here. And you're still here because the process wasn't meant to take you out, but it was meant to make you stronger and make you a voice. And you mentioned Sarah's daughters, and I believe that's the domestic violence chapter that's here in Jersey City. Yes. I know of them well. So I began to think about how God allowed you to connect with women that have been in similar situations as you, and now gave you a platform and an avenue so that you can reach out and not and be just as effective of helping somebody else come through that, because you understand what it's like not to have that person, not to have that thing, and to grow up and to help people understand it's okay to not be okay.
Okay, yes.
So many times we don't understand it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say, I don't have it. I don't have it together today. I can't pour into you today. And I like to tell people, me, myself, I'm in my selfish season. And they're like, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm considering me. So many times we consider other people when we're not okay. And we're not able to give fully of who we are, who we're supposed to be, because we're not okay. So when I say in my selfishness, I need to make sure I'm okay. And then while I'm making sure I'm okay, then I can make sure you're okay. But if I can't keep pouring into something and I don't have nothing pouring back into me. So with that being said, I thank you so much for joining in. Can you please tell the audience where they can find your book, if you have a social media platform where they can follow you at?
Yes. If you would like to have a conversation more in detail, if you want to purchase the book, I'm on Amazon. You can get it. You can look it up as I Don't Look Like What I Went Through. The title, I am Tanicka Williams, Tanicka Williams. I am on Facebook as Tanicka Williams. I'm also on Instagram. Excuse me. I am Touched Inc. That's TOUCHED Inc. On Instagram, Tanicka Williams on Facebook, and the book is on Amazon. And also, if somebody wants to send me an email, I have an email. It's ctanicka10@gmail.com.
Guys, go out and get this book. Get this book. I guarantee it's going to make a difference in your life. It's going to inspire, encourage you, and help strengthen you to become the woman that you are destined to be, the person that you are destined to be. Not only do sometimes women go through these issues, but men.
Yes.
They go through the same issues. We don't tend to spotlight as many men that goes through some of the issues, but they are. I'm pretty sure as a man you can find yourself in this story as well, in this journey,
Right.
and understand that you too can become the better person. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on the
you.
show.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing your story. Thank you for showing just your inputs and being an inspiration. And thank you for not sitting on your story but sharing it so that
Thank
it
you
can
so much for
inspire
having
somebody
me.
else.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be on your show. Thank you for allowing me to share myself with your audience. Thank you for allowing me to be able to finally have a voice and
Okay.
let people know you're not alone.
Yes.
You're not in this by yourself. If you need me to hold your hand, I will. Because we're in this together.
Yes. All right.
So I thank you so much for the opportunity.
Okay. Do you have any last words? Anything that you want to share? What's next for you?
I am working on the second book. It's
Okay.
called Tanicka's Gratitude Letter.
Okay.
So I'm definitely working on that. Look for that in sometime in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to more appearances and just reach out so that we can continue this conversation going. Because, like I said before in the beginning of the show, I'm an open book. I have no problem sharing. I have no problem listening. Because, like I said earlier, we keep what we have by giving it away.
Right.
So all people need is just an ear. Sometimes that's all people really need, in the shoulder
Yes.
to lean on. So if I can be that for somebody, I'm ever so grateful. Ever so grateful.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to On the Rise with Miss Phoenix. We look forward to the next episode. Thank you so much to our guests who came out on this evening. We thank you all for tuning in. Go get the book.
Yes, go get the book.
Go get the book. Even if it's not for you, go get it and gift it to somebody else and
Yes.
guarantee it will make a
I
difference.
guarantee you it will definitely help you. It will encourage you. It will, I'm not gonna say it will change your life, but it will change your life because it changed mine.
Yes. So thank you again, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you later.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.